Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are going to understand about the entity relationships. What is entity relationships? Well, if we take a look at this first word entity, which is nothing but the physical object in real world. And as we know, physical objects in real world can be related to each other. Yeah, okay. So to be taking an example, let's say that I am a customer and I am going into any shop. As a customer, I can order multiple products, right? So here we can see there is a one-to-many relationship. So as a person, single entity is placing an order for multiple products. Well, if you are living in India, so as an Indian resident, you can only hold one passport. So a single person can have only one passport, and a passport can be related to only one single person. So here you can see one-to-one relationship, that a single entity, two entities can be related to each other, a one-to-one relationship. Same way as these entities are represented in SQL in the form of tables. These tables, multiple tables can be related to each other with these relationships. What are these relationships? These are the four relationships we have in SQL. Well, let's discuss about these all four relationships one by one. First relationship, which is one-to-one relationship. The second example which I have given, which is case where as an Indian person, as an Indian resident, you can only hold one passport, and that relationship between a person and a passport is there one-to-one. The basic structure of writing these one-to-one relationship in SQL is this one. So here you can see in each table, in person table, you can see that I am using a foreign key over here, which is referencing to the passport ID column of the passport table. And in the same passport creates query, you can see that I am using one more foreign key over here, which is referencing to the person table, person ID. Okay, so here is the simplest example of one-to-one relationship. As we have seen with an example for person and passport, let's try to implement that example on. So we are going to write queries to create both of these tables and establish the relationship between them, that is one-to-one relationship. Writing query. So here you can see the queries, which is both of these queries are to create tables. Okay, first one is a person table and second one is a passport table, and we want to establish a one-to-one relationship between them. For that, person table is referring to the passport table passport ID column. So this is the column it's referring to, and at the same time passport column is referring to the person table person column. Query executed. Okay, so we are getting error. What? Relation passport does not exist. This first query, which is person table creation query, so it's expecting a passport table with a passport ID, which is on the next line, but since it is not available at the time of first query running, it's throwing that relationship error. Okay, how can we solve this issue? It's very simple. How? Let's see that. These are the modified SQL table creation queries. Here you can see that in the first table, I am not referencing it to any other table, that is specifically to the passport table. So this column which you can see passport ID, it's not referencing to the passport table passport ID column as of now, once this query is executed. So once this first query is executed, it's going to go to the second query and it's going to look for this person table with a person ID. But since the first query is executed and that person ID column is existed, in that case, we are going to get this query successfully run. In third statement, here you can see third query, we are modifying the first person table. What we are doing is we are adding this constraint, foreign key constraint, for the passport ID column, which is already present, and we are referencing it to the passport table passport ID column. Okay, so which is created just before this executing this editor query. Okay, let's try to execute this one and see what's the result. Okay, here you can see the query returns successfully. It means that those tables are created, and next step will be how we can add the data into this table. Well, as I was telling you that things might not be simple as it seems. Let's try to insert the records. Here you can see I'm trying to insert records in person table and passport table with both the person ID value and the passport ID value in the person table, and passport ID value and a person ID value in the passport table. Well, first try to execute this query and see what's exception we are getting. So here you can see that insert or update on table person violates the foreign key constraint. Expecting a passport ID 100 which is not present in the passport table, because that 100 passport ID data or row or a record is inserted in the next line, and we are trying to associate even before it's inserted in the table. So what's going to be solution? Same as what we have seen in the table creation statement, similar to that one. Here you can see the approach we have used is a little bit different. So in first person table record, we are not trying to insert the passport ID column value. Instead, we are just keeping it as an empty value. So once this first person record is inserted, and then we are going to the passport record insertion query. In that we are trying to associate this 100 passport ID record with the one person ID record. Okay, since that record is already present in the which is from the previous query, it's able to associate that this new passport record to the person with a person ID as a 1. In the next statement, in the next query, what we are doing is we are trying to update the person record which is already present with the ID 1. So what we are doing is we are updating the passport ID here with 100. Now since that query is already run with the passport ID is 100, it should not give us any issues inserting this, updating this record. Okay, in this way we can insert a record for one-to-one relationship tables. Okay, let's try to execute this query and see what's the result. So here you can see that update, that is the last query, is successful and the records are present. But how do we verify these records are present or not? We have to fetch the data and see if those records are present in table or not. But how should we fetch this? Because in this case we are having multiple tables, right? In a case where we are having multiple tables, we can use the joins to combine the results of both of these tables and take it in a single table. Let's see that as well. Here you can see that I am using join query. So here you can see join query. What I am doing is I am using aliases as well. PR is an alias for the person table and PW is an alias for the passport table. Okay, simple query that we are fetching person ID, person name and country from this both of these table and joining it with these this person column with the passport column. Okay, on a condition that person ID from the person table is equals to the person ID from the passport table. Okay, let's try to execute this query and let's see if they are giving us any results or not. Here you can see that result. Get this, we are getting a person ID which is 1, person name which is Shubham, and the country name. Okay, it is what we have inserted in the previous queries as a part of that 100 passport ID. Okay, so this is the way we can fetch the details or fetch the records from multiple tables which is having one-to-one relationship. Second is one-to-many relationship. Well, if we are discussing about one-to-many, and the third one which is a many-to-one relationship, it's kind of almost same. The way we have to write queries for them is exactly same. Well, if we take an example for this one, the first example which we discussed, that is as a customer I can order multiple products, right? So this is one-to-many relationship. And if we take an example of the many-to-one relationship, well, we can take an example that let's say that you're working in any organization and you're a part of any department. So like you, there will be a lot of employees which will be the part of the same department. So this is a classic example, that is many employees can be associated with one single department. Basic structure, that is a basic query we can write for this one-to-many or many-to-one relationship is this one. In case of the one-to-many or many-to-one relationship, the writing query is very simple, that we are creating one customer table and in that we are having a customer ID and the customer name. In the second table, which is the spelling is written little wrong, but I guess you can understand this one. Okay, so it's the product order, and that we are having order ID, the product, and third one is this customer ID, which is a foreign key which is referencing to this customer table, customer ID. Okay, let's try to execute this query. Query returns successfully. Now let's try to insert some record. So we are trying to insert a customer record with CID and CNAME, one, and customer name as a Shubham, and product order which are going to be, the first one is 100 with the product ID, and 101. First product is soap and second one is a shirt. Okay, and it is associated with the customer ID which is having a customer ID of 1. Okay, so here you can see that customer ID, this is the record, it's associating. Both of them are associating with a single customer. Okay, so this is the way you can insert the records for one to many or many to one relationship. Okay, let's try to execute this query and see. Here you can see that query is returned successfully. Now, as we have seen how to create a tables for one to many relationship and how to insert data for them, let's try to see how we can fetch the data from this one to many relationship tables. Okay, the same way we have to use the joins here as well to combine the results from both of these tables. Here we can see that I am fetching the data from the customer table and the product order table. I am using the alias PO for the product order and CS for the customer table. Okay, I am fetching the records, the columns from the customer table, CID and CNAME, and the product from the product order, on a condition that customer ID from the customer table should be equals to the customer ID from the product order table. Let's try to execute this query. Here you can see the results. The customer ID is 1, customer name is same, Shubham, but the product which is associating is, there are two different products. One is soap and shirt, which we have inserted. Okay. So this is the way you can fetch the details, fetch the records from the one-to-many relationship tables. The last one, that is last relationship we can establish in SQL, is the many-to-many relationship. Well, the simplest and most well-known example for this one is the student and the courses they attend. So as you can see, well, you might be knowing this if you are watching this video, that as a single person, as a student, you can attend multiple courses, right? And each courses contains lots of students. So this is an example. As a student, you can attend multiple courses, and as a course, we have a lot of students attending that course. Okay. And basic structure to write, that is a basic query to write this, to establish this many-to-many relationship is this one. And as you can see, it's a little different. Okay, so in this many-to-many relationship, instead of just writing, referencing to the other table in the same table creation statement, here what we are doing is we are creating a third table. And in this we are having the primary keys of both of these tables with which we want to establish this many-to-many relationship. Both of these keys as a primary key, and then we are referencing each of these primary key to the other referencing table. Like as a student, it can be attending multiple courses, and as a course, it can have multiple different students. Here you can see there are two main tables. One is a student table and course table. Both student table contains the student ID and the student name, and course table contains the course ID and the course name. And to maintain the many-to-many relationship between these two tables, we have to maintain one extra table, which tells us the relationship between these two table records. Okay, so this extra table is a student course table, which contains the SID, that is student ID from the student table, and the course ID from the course table. Okay, and we are making both of these SID and course ID as a primary key, and we are associating these keys to the other table as a foreign key. So as I told you, student ID is referencing to the student ID here is referencing to the student SID, and course ID is referencing to the course table course ID. As you can see that query runs successfully, and it's showing these data. It's from the previous select query. Okay, I'm going to just minimize lower it down. Now let's do one thing. Let's try to insert the record for these created tables. Here you can see that I am inserting 3 records. First major 3 records. One is for the student, which is having ID as 1 and name as a Shibam. And there are 2 courses I am inserting. One is which is having 100 ID, and second one is having the 101 ID. One is the first ABC course and second one is the random course. Okay, these course names are just random course names. Okay, you can take anything you want. And after that, what I'm doing is I'm associating them with each other using this third table, which is student course table. Okay, and in this, how I'm associating? So first one is the student ID, and student ID is attending the course which is having the ID as 100. So course ID is 100. Same way, same student is attending second course as well, which is having the course ID as 101. Same way, we can also create one more student record and then associate with one of these courses. Okay, in this way we can have this relationship of many to many by inserting records. Okay, let's try to insert these records by executing this query and see if they are present in the table or not. As we can see here that the query runs successfully and records might have been inserted in the database table, and to check that we have to run the select query. And as we have seen that to fetch the data from the multiple tables, we have to use the join query. And in this case, we are having the 3 different tables. Since we are having the 3 different tables, all these 3 different tables can be joined together using the join query. Okay, now let's understand this query. Okay, it's very simple query as like the previous ones. So we are running this select query and we are fetching the details from the S, which is an alias for the student ID, student name, and then there is a course name. Okay, and what's the join condition? That it's in so student course table SID, student ID should be equals to student table student ID. Second condition is the course table course ID should be equals to student course table course ID. Okay, so this is the way we can write the query for many-to-many relationship table. Okay, so we are trying to fetch the data from the student table, student course table, and course table. Okay, let's run this query and see if we are getting the as expected results or not. So here you can see that the same student which is having as ID as a 1, so and having a name as a Shubham is associated with the 2 different courses, ABC and random. The same way we can have multiple courses associated, single course associated with a multiple student. So this was the way we can write the queries for one-to-one relationship, one-to-many relationship, and many-to-one relationship. I hope you get something out of this video. Till the next video, bye bye.